Some people think that when they start making over six figures, that they don't need to budget at all anymore. Well, that is just not true, and we're going to tell you why. Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tasha with One Big Happy Life, and we make videos about how to find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want. So if you are all about living life on your own terms, then we make videos just for you. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
If you all have been following us for a while, you know that Tasha and I are both attorneys. We each make six figures at our day jobs, and we have a six-figure business. So you'd be thinking, well, do they even have to worry about budgeting? The answer is yes.
And no. So you absolutely need a budget, even if, no matter, multi-billion-dollar companies have budgets, right? Because they want to make sure that they are tracking where their money is going and that their money is working as hard for them as they can. And so, yes, we absolutely do have a budget. The one thing that I will say, why I say yes and no, is that what we don't do is we don't budget down to the penny anymore. We have categorical spending where we allot money to specific categories from month to month. And so that's why you don't see us opening our budget and closing out our budget at the end of the month, because we don't really work like that. It's more of cyclical and just making sure that we're on track. And if we're not on track, then we'll tweak things a little bit month to month. But our finances, they're largely automated. And the only reason that we were able to get there is because we did spend time putting together a spending plan, aka a budget, that actually fits with the lifestyle that we want and the money that we have.
Okay, so let's talk about the reasons why you definitely want to have a budget, regardless of how much you're making. Even if you're in the six figures, you want to have a budget. And here's why. $100,000 does not go quite as far as you think it's going to go. So if you're looking up at 100,000 and that's your goal, and you're like, well, when I make 100,000, everything's easy. Well, you'll get that 100,000, and then you'll say, okay, well, now that I have 100,000, I'm going to be able to hit these savings goals. So you're going to increase your savings, and then you're going to say, well, I need more insurance now, which is true. You're going to want to protect those assets that you're building, and so then you have a little bit more insurance, and then, well, maybe to get that job, you had to move to a higher cost of living area, and then so you have a little bit more house, and so chunks still come out of it. And that means that what you're left with is making those crucial decisions of, well, is this category going to get a little bit more, or is this one going to get more? And so the decision-making process is exactly the same, and so that plan is still vital.
Yeah, so to kind of summarize what Joseph said, the more you make, the more expectations you have of your money. I know a lot of people will like to just focus on, lifestyle inflation and don't let lifestyle creep happen. Well, let's be honest. None of us are saying I want to make more money so that I can live the exact same way that I'm living right now. It's like, no, you want to make more money so that your money can start hitting more of those financial goals. And like Joseph said, you're going to want to be saving more money. So we save way more money now than we did when we were making $60,000 a year each right out of law school. You also pay more in taxes. So that is just a real thing. Over time, your deductions phase out, so that increases your taxes even more. You're not going to want to skimp on things as much as you used to, like Joseph said, the insurance thing. Like, I remember going without dental insurance. I won't do that anymore. And not only that, but we have higher levels of coverage, and that stuff costs more money. So none of these things are even related to having a bigger house or a nicer car. Frankly, my car is more expensive than the car that I bought when I was like a 19-year-old single mom making $24,000 a year. My car is about $6,000 more expensive, and my household income is like 10 times what it was. So it's like, our lifestyle hasn't inflated as much as you would expect, given that our household income has tripled over the past 7 years.
Yeah, that's very true. Mm-hmm. Another reason that you definitely need a budget is you can fall into an overspending trap very, very quickly if you have absolutely no plan in place. Especially because if you're making more money, you're going to have higher credit limits on credit cards, and you're going to say at the beginning of the month, when you look at your bank account, you're going to say, oh my gosh, I've got so much money in there. And then even if you're using a debit card, you can easily get down to where you've spent way more than you needed to, way more than you meant to. And so you're looking at the same kinds of trouble without that plan.
Yeah, so having that spending plan in place, and by the way, if you don't have one, you can snag a free one at onebighappylife.com/budget. Makes sure that your spending plan in your mind aligns with what is actually in your budget, because I think we have a habit, all of us, of looking at our bank accounts with rosy colored glasses and expecting that money that we work so hard for to go a lot farther than it actually does.
Third, having a budget is going to force you to follow a plan to make sure that you're hitting those financial goals that you actually want to be hitting. If you don't have the plan, then you're going to be thinking about your financial goals like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had this? Am I saving enough for that? Well, but if you're not actually checking to see, oh, well, did I actually transfer that $1,000 into my savings or investment account? Well, you're not going to be able to make that great progress that you intended to when you got up there at that six-figure income.
Another time, piggybacking on that, reason why it's good to have a spending plan regardless of your income is so that you can make sure that your money is actually allocated, aka divided up into buckets in a way that you are happy with. So I remember when we were living in Philadelphia, we moved up from Texas and we still had a house for sale in Texas. So we were paying that mortgage and we were paying a relatively expensive rental price for our apartment in Philadelphia. And that's when we had to kind of sit down and look at our budget and say, oh my gosh, what is going on? Because it's very challenging to pay, a $2,500 mortgage and a $2,000 apartment rental cost. And we sat down and we were looking at how much we were paying in various categories and also aggregating them for the whole year, because one month's payment may look okay, but then when you realize that you're spending almost $4,000 a year, say on your mobile phone, like your cell phone and your cell phone bill, like we actually turned to each other and we're like, why in the world are we spending $4,000 a year on cell phone bills and then almost the same amount on cable? What else could we be doing with $8,000 a year? Is that where we want $8,000 of our hard-earned income to be going? And at that time, probably still right now, we're still like, no, but definitely at that time we were like, nope. And so what did we do? We sold our pricey cell phones. We switched over to, back then, Republic Wireless, because they were doing this thing that allowed us to get out of the contract that we had with Verizon. And our bill went from being over $250, $300 a month to being, what was it, $50 a month?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was
like
so
super
low.
cheap. And we did that for a good 2 years. And only recently have we upgraded that to where now we have, well, I would say 2 years ago, we did Verizon Wireless. Not Verizon Wireless.
No, we have T-Mobile now.
T-Mobile. Yes, you were right.
And we have an incredible deal with them.
Yeah, and it's like $90 a month for 3 unlimited lines for me, Joseph, and Alexis. We pay for our cell phones in cash, and typically we pay less than $300 for a cell phone. The one exception is I do have a Google Pixel, because this phone is actually a business phone that we use to do a lot of our social media. So the business pays for this.
Yeah, and I would say that really the only reason that the cell phone plans have escalated even a little bit is that mainly, like, business-wise, we use data more and we need to have access to it more. And so that's a lot of the reason driving that. And then, I mean, because we did this intense look at everything, that's why we cut cable when we moved here. Because we identified it, well, we're not going to continue on paying that. I don't remember if we were in a contract we were waiting to get out of or not, but we decided at that time we're not going to initiate another contract or get cable at this house because it's just too much money, and we really weren't watching as much TV and stuff as we once did.
Which actually ties into this next reason, which is that with a spending plan, you can come up with different scenarios. You can play different what-if schemes. And we do that all the time. We're in the process of doing that right now, because I'm about to quit my job and go full time working on our business, One Big Happy Life. And so we actually have a couple of different budgets that we've put together with various scenarios. Like, what if our revenue for the next year is X amount? Or what if we don't have any revenue at all? Also, including our daughter's college expenses. What if we're not able to pre-fund it as we are anticipating we will this year? What if we pay off my student loans in 5 years versus 2 years versus 10 years? Being able to tweak our spending plan to see the actual impact it will have on our day-to-day lives is just incredibly invaluable when it comes to life planning.
Yeah, definitely be using your budget as a tool to make your financial life easier, better. Don't just think of it as a one and done thing. It is like a calculator that you can just keep using to give you as much information as you need and want when you're thinking about those goals and dreams that you have.
And then the last reason, and there are, I'm sure, way more reasons than what we're laying out here, but you can be more efficient with your money. The fact is that when we're just leaving things up to our mind and up to our day-to-day impulses to control our spending, we're more likely to indulge in wasteful spending that we wouldn't do if we had planned for it in advance.
Yeah, that intentional spending is a really big deal because I know I would definitely be spending more than my fun monies. Yes. Every single month. If I didn't know, hey, my fun monies is $100, which that was $200.
Yeah, so we know based on years and years of budgeting and being together. So Joseph is like a trickle spender. He will spend little bits over the course of the month that will bump him out of his budget. I am like a lump sum spender. So I don't shop regularly, but when I shop, I shop, right? So having our spending plan in place and also automating our finances makes it so much easier for us to stick within our spending buckets. And also, frankly, just admitting to ourselves, this is the way we want to spend. So bumping up our grocery budget from $600 to $1,200, and I think we're going to bump it up a little bit more. Being able to be liberal with our finances and know that we want to aspire to higher spending in certain categories really does make budgeting and having that spending plan absolutely effortless.
Yeah. So everybody get a budget. And if you don't already have one, definitely go over and get your budget template at onebighappylife.com/budget.
All right. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.